All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks. My key games for the upcoming weekend in the world of college football. I want to start off in the Big Ten as you're going to have unranked Maryland traveling to Ann Arbor tomorrow afternoon to take on the fourth ranked Michigan Wolverines. Now, this is the Big Ten opener for both of these undefeated teams. And for Maryland to go on the road and pull off the upset, they're going to need a big game from their quarterback, Talia Tagovailoa, along with running back Roman Hemby and wide receiver Raheem Jarrett. But on the flip side for Michigan, so far they are third in the nation in defense. And then you look at this offense as it's coming together with wide receiver Ronnie Bell, running back Blake Corum, and of course quarterback JJ McCarty. I think it's going to be a situation where Maryland will be competitive, but Michigan is clearly the better team. And I'm going to take Michigan to pull away and get the 37-20 win. Now, in the ACC, you're going to have the fifth ranked Clemson Tigers traveling to take on the 21st ranked Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. And for Clemson, they're looking to regain their throne up atop the ACC. And for quarterback DJU and this offense, they're a work in progress. That's the best thing you can say. And they're trying to round into form as the season progresses. I think running back Will Shipley will have an impact on this game. And I think one thing that will help Clemson offensively is that Wake Forest is not a good defensive team. Five picks so far by this Clemson defense already, and they want to try to go out there and make life tough for Wake Forest quarterback Sam Hartman. Also, keep an eye on wide receiver A.T. Perry going up against this Clemson secondary. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Clemson's going to have to work for it, but I'm going to take the Tigers to get the 34-24 win on the road. Now, in the Big 12, you're going to have 17th ranked Baylor traveling to take on Iowa State, and this is the Big 12 opener for both of these clubs. I look at Baylor running back Richard Reese. Can he dictate the pace of this game for this Baylor offense? That's going to be important. Also, another player to keep an eye on will be Iowa State wide receiver Xavier Hutchinson. He can be a matchup nightmare for secondary. So it's going to be interesting to see what Baylor can do in this game. I think this is going to be a nip and tuck back and forth type game. And I think the last team to possess the football will win. Thus, I'm going to take Iowa State at home by the score of 30-27. Now, in the SEC, you're going to have 20th ranked Florida traveling to Knoxville to take on the 11th ranked Volunteers of Tennessee. And the big question is Tennessee back? They're ranked high in the rankings right now compared to where they've been in recent years. They're undefeated, and they need a couple of games to go their way in order to turn that corner and officially be back. But for Florida, this is their first road game under new head coach Billy Napier. And this offense is a work in progress because Florida is one of the few FBS teams right now that is yet to have a passing touchdown. Quarterback Anthony Richardson has no touchdown passes and four picks. And the thing that you want to circle on those picks, some of those picks are coming in opponents' territories, and they've also been run back for touchdowns. So that's something to really keep your eye on in this game. Running back Montrell Johnson Jr. can continue to run the football, but I think what he needs is more consistency out of this passing game to really open things up for him. Florida is solid defensively when you think about the likes of safety Trey Dean, and already this unit has four interceptions, and they're going to have their hands full going up against Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker in this offense. I think wide receiver Jalen Hyatt is a talented player, as is running back Jalen Wright. And I talked about Florida's issues at quarterback right now. If Richardson can get uncomfortable, it could be a long afternoon slash evening for him as he's dealing with this Tennessee front that already has 8 team sacks. Neyland Stadium is always loud. It's always loud for this game, and especially when both teams are ranked. And I'm going to take Tennessee in this one at home by the score of 33-20. Now, back in the Big 12, you're going to have the 22nd ranked Longhorns of Texas traveling to Lubbock to take on the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. And this is the first conference game of the year for these two in-state rivals. For Texas to go on the road and get the win, I think running back Bijan Robinson has to get started early and really dictate things in order to, like, cut the game in half, if you will, for the Longhorns. And now this Texas defense already has 6 sacks, and they're going up against an up and down quarterback in Donovan Smith for Texas Tech. Already 5 interceptions and 7 touchdowns this season. So it's going to be a nip and tuck affair. Typically, the games between these two have been close in recent years, and I'm going to take Texas on the road by the score of 34-30. Then you're going to have Notre Dame traveling to Chapel Hill to take on the Tar Heels out of North Carolina, and this is a September test for both of these teams. Notre Dame goes on the road now with quarterback Drew Pine under center. And I think it's going to be up for the Irish defense to really try to make some plays early and get things started. 10 team sacks already by Notre Dame, and two and a half of those by Isaiah Foskey. And I think he has the talent to be a top 15 pick in the upcoming draft. Now, for North Carolina, they get a break from the Sun Belt Conference. They've, had some close affairs in recent weeks. They're coming off a bye week, the Tar Heels are, and now they've got a home game. And I look at quarterback Drew May, already 11 touchdowns this season. You look at running back Amarian Hampton and wide receiver Kobe Pacer. This is one of the most talented trios that the ACC will have on display at the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver positions this year. Now, North Carolina has not been good defensively, and I think that's going to give Notre Dame an opportunity to get some things going offensively. But the Tar Heels offense, I think, is just going to be too much for Notre Dame's defense. This I'm going to take North Carolina at home in this one by the score of 37-24. Now, in the Big Ten, you're going to have Minnesota traveling to East Lansing to take on Michigan State. And this is the Big Ten opener for both of these clubs. Now, quarterback Tanner Morgan is a grizzled veteran for the Golden Gophers and head coach PJ Fleck. But it comes down to getting the football to running back Mohamed Ibrahim. Can he dictate the pace and really lean on this Michigan State defense? We'll have to wait and see. No Chris Ottman-Bell at wide receivers. He's lost for the season for Minnesota, and that's going to be important. Now, on the flip side, Michigan State is looking to get back on track after they lost in Seattle last week to Washington. Quarterback Peyton Thorne, I expect him to have a bounce back game, and I think Michigan State wants to get the ball to running back Jalen Berger early and often. And I think getting the ball to Berger will really change things, because you look at this Minnesota defense, they already have 6 sacks, and they want to come out there and put some pressure on Thorne. But if Michigan State can run the football effectively, that's going to neutralize it. Also, for Michigan State, I look at linebacker Jacoby Windman. I think he can have an impact on this game. 5.5 sacks already in this early season. Both of these clubs are very good teams. I know that Michigan State lost to Washington last week, but I think they bounce back here with a 33-27 win at home. Now, in the Pac-12, you're going to have 15th ranked Oregon traveling to Pullman to take on the Washington State Cougars. Once again, another conference opener here, and both of these teams definitely want to make a run at the conference title. Now, Oregon has bounced back after that beatdown to begin the year at the hands of Georgia. Bo Nix, the transfer from Auburn at quarterback, is really getting into a rhythm. You love the way that the Ducks are running the football with Marquise King, and they have a playmaker at wide receiver in Troy Franklin. But on the flip side, for Wazoo, I look at quarterback Cameron Ward and running back Nakia Watson. They can definitely go out there and make an impact in this game in Washington State's favor. Also, keep an eye out for Washington State linebacker Diane Henley. Already 30 tackles, 4 sacks, and a pick this year, as he is making a case to be the Pac-12's Defensive Player of the Year. Pullman will be loud for this game. Washington State is a solid football team, and I'm going to take the Cougars at home by the score of 34-27. Now, at Jerry World, it's an SEC clash that used to be a Southwest Conference clash, as you're going to have 10th ranked Arkansas meeting up with the 23rd ranked Texas A&M Aggies. And of course, KJ Jefferson will be the best player on the field, and this A&M defense has to find a way to keep him in the pocket, slow him down, Don't let him get on the edges because if he gets started, you got a long afternoon. Running back Raheem Sanders could be an impact player for Arkansas in this game as well. And if the Razorbacks get their run game going, look out for KJ Jefferson hitting up wide receiver Matt Landers for some big plays. Bumper Pool and Drew Sanders at linebacker have been solid throughout their Arkansas careers, and that continues here in 2022. And it's going to be interesting to see the matchup with this Arkansas defense going up against this A&M offense and quarterback Max Johnson. Now, A&M got back on track, and they had to work for it against a good Miami team last week. Won't be the case tomorrow, in my opinion. I'm going to take Arkansas in this game by the score of 38-27. Now, in Piscataway, you're going to have Iowa clashing with Rutgers, another conference opener for two Big Ten teams here. And this is also a test for undefeated Rutgers. Now, for Iowa, they are dead last in the nation in total offense, and something has to give for Spencer Petras and crew if they're going to keep up with their defense. You think about Iowa's defense, they are nasty, and I mean nasty in a very good way, with linebackers Jack Campbell and Seth Benson, and already the Hawkeyes have 9 team sacks. For Rutgers, running back Al Shadi Salam, can he get something going against this Iowa front? That is going to be the interesting matchup right there. Usually, you can say the first team to 20 might win a game. But in this case right here, I don't see either team getting to 20, just due to the defenses and due to the offenses as well. But with that said, I'm going to take Rutgers at home by the score of 17-13. Now, back in the Big 12, you're going to have Kansas State traveling to take on the 8th ranked Sooners of Oklahoma. And for Oklahoma, should they be on upset alert, being that K State has beaten them twice in their last 3 meetings? Now, for K State to go out there and get this upset, running back Deuce Vaughn is going to have an impact. But then I also look at this Wildcats defense: 7 sacks and 7 interceptions so far in the young season. Can they put enough pressure on Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel to get him to make some mistakes? We'll have to wait and see. But there's plenty of talent around Gabriel with running back Eric Gray and wide receiver Marvin Mims, and also defensively for Oklahoma and Brent Venables. Linebacker Danny Stutzman, this dude is a stud. Also, keep an eye out for Reggie Grimes. He has 4 of the Oklahoma 13 sacks so far. I think Oklahoma is up for the challenge. I think they will not look past K-State in this one. And I'm going to take the Sooners at home by the score of 30-17. Now, in the Pac-12, you're going to have the 7th ranked USC Trojans traveling to Corvallis to take on Oregon State. Now, both of these teams are title contenders in the Pac-12, and honestly, I got a feeling that both of these clubs could potentially meet twice this year. For USC, obviously, their offense looks a lot different with Caleb Williams, also the Oregon transferred running back and Travis Dye, along with the wide receivers Mario Williams and, of course, Jordan Addison. 7 picks so far by this defense for the men of Troy, and they have 14 team sacks. They know how to get after teams, and more importantly, they've been playing with a lot of leads, so that changes a lot of things as far as teams passing against them. But for Oregon State to go out there and get the upset, I think Chance Nolan, their quarterback, needs to have a big game. Also, running back Deshaun Fenwick, as well as wide receiver Trayshawn Harrison. I think the fans in Corvallis will be up for this. I think this is going to be a very good game, but I think USC will pull away late with the 38-27 win. And finally, it's going to be the 13th ranked Utah Utes traveling to Tempe to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils. And for Arizona State, how will they respond and look following the firing of their head coach, Herm Edwards? We got to wait and see. But for Utah, too much talent with quarterback Cam Rising, as well as running back Tavion Thomas. And I think the Utah tight ends, Dalton Kincaid and Brant Keithy, can definitely have a big time impact on the second and third levels of this Arizona State defense, trying to really break them down. Now, for the Sun Devils, they're going to need a big game from quarterback Emory Jones, as well as running back Xavier Holiday, as well as a wide receiver Elijah Badger. But at the end of the day, Arizona State's in too much turmoil. Utah is too much of a good team. And because of that, I'm going to take the Utes to roll on the road by the score of 38-20. So, folks, those are my key games for tomorrow in the world of college football. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks for tuning in out there. And if you haven't not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Also, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.